Hello and welcome to HITC Sport. Right, let's take a look at every Premier League club and their best performing player out on loan. Not the biggest name, who's actually playing the best. Arsenal, Henrik Mkhitaryan. Now, I'm not saying for 1 minute Arsenal should bring back Henrik Mkhitaryan, alright? Clearly the man is a talented player, but about as suited to the English game as Ozzy Osbourne is to his wife. She's made of plastic and he eats bats. Probably a match made in hell. Plus, the Armenian has essentially signed his London career's death warrant by accusing his parent club of breaking promises. While out on loan at Roma, clearly just counting down the days until he can make his transfer permanent, he's got his form back, lit up Serie A and bagged 4 goals in 12 games. No, it's not a figure that's going to stop time, but lads, it's an improvement on last season, alright? When he slumped around the pitch like a dog in heat. Aston Villa, Scott Hogan. Imagine how little Aston Villa must think of Scott Hogan. Not only are they willing to chuck a former £12 million signing out on loan for free, they've actually hand-packaged him off to Birmingham City, their arch-rivals. To be fair, while he did stink up the place during the first half of the season out on loan at Stoke, Hogan currently has 2 goals in 2 games for the Blues. It's a decent start for a man whose career was hit by a blimp, and to think just 2 years ago this was an actual news story.
Ireland could lose out on Scott Hogan to England because of a big money transfer.
See what you've done to our poor country? Now we're terrified about having bang-average footballers somehow stolen away by Gareth Southgate. But luckily for us, England wouldn't touch this fellow with a 6-foot pole. Bournemouth, Harry Arter. Okay, look, I know Harry Arter had a shin bone injury which kept him out of action for 2+ months, but who else are we going to realistically choose? A big bag of rubbish that Eddie Howe has sprinkled across Europe out on loan. They haven't been great. They've been pretty awful. Asmir Begovic is currently picking up splinters on the AC Milan bench. Sam Surridge is proving on a weekly basis out on Swansea that he is not the answer to Eddie Howe's prayers. So instead, step forward Arter out on loan at Fulham. Injuries aside, he's been a decent player for them in midfield, and if Fulham do get promoted, then yeah, he and his brother-in-law are going to have one hell of a lock-in down the pub. Brighton and Ben White. Remember when I so confidently predicted that Dan Burn will never play a minute of football for Brighton this season? I know Brighton have had their problems in defence lately, but Christ above, Dan Burn is not the answer. The man made 14 appearances for Wigan last season and was not very good. I will be surprised if Graham Potter turns to the 27-year-old centre half this season, considering he is essentially a walking accident waiting to happen. After just the 22 appearances and 1 bastard goal, I am going to finally learn my lesson and not say the same thing about Ben White for next season. The lad is impressing out on loan at Leeds, playing 27 times in defence, although why do I get the feeling that club is on the verge of their annual meltdown? Burnley, Aidan O'Neill. Oh lads, if Nahki Wells hadn't been sold on a permanent basis to Bristol City last week, he'd have been the obvious choice. For Christ's sake, the man battered in 15 goals before Christmas out on loan at QPR for God's sake. Still wasn't enough to convince Sean Dyche though. Since he no longer qualifies, I don't know, maybe Aidan O'Neill. The 21-year-old central midfielder is playing week in, week out in his home country of Australia with Brisbane Roar. I mean, he's never going to play for Burnley again, but at least he's back home in the sunshine instead of being stuck out on a muddy pitch in the midst of Storm Kira. Chelsea, Alvaro Morata. I could go for Victor Moses, a man into his 5th loan away from Chelsea and could finish up the season with a Serie A winner's medal. But no, step forward Alvaro Morata, a man you would forget is still only on loan at Atletico Madrid. Now, he hasn't set the world alight, he's just been what you'd expect from someone like Morata. 10 goals in 24 games. The man isn't a prolific goal scorer by any means, but that is a goal-scoring figure you would expect from Alvaro Morata. Crystal Palace, Alexander Sorloth. I don't understand this. Crystal Palace will happily keep £100,000 a week Christian Benteke on the wage bill, despite going over 30 games without a goddamn goal, but you'll happily toss Alexander Sorloth, a proven goal scorer, out of the club like a dirty dish rag. If we're talking loan stars, then this man is performing the best out of every single player in the Premier League out on loan. He's linked up with Trabzonspor out in Turkey, the same team that employed John Obi Mikel and Daniel Sturridge, and has battered home 19 goals in 28 games. And yet, strike partner Sturridge, the more expensive option and with 12 goals less than him, is still the one getting linked with a return to England. If Roy Hodgson isn't going to wake up and play him, then honestly, a Premier League team needs to snap up Alexander Sorloth in the summer. Honestly, the man is a hidden gem. Oh, by the way lads, this is your annoying mid-video reminder. Trying to 400k as soon as possible, going for that fairy tale story of toppling football daily. If you want to join that journey, slap that subscribe button with notifications turned on. You'll be honestly the greatest person that ever lived in the history of the planet. Anyway, let's get back into the video. Look at these players shining out on loan. Everton, Jonjo Kenny. Again, Everton have a big bag of rubbish out on loan with nobody really excelling. I guess Jonjo Kenny is doing alright with 21 games under his belt, out on loan in the Bundesliga with Schalke. Oh, and he's also popped his goal scoring cherry, scoring the first goal of his career at the ripe old age of 22. I wonder if anyone will believe him when he returns. Leicester, Islam Slimani. Well, Islam Slimani found himself linked with Manchester United off the back of this loan deal, so what does that tell you? Let's not forget this is a man who cost Leicester a club record £25 million and is now on his 3rd loan away from the club. What an absolute disaster. He's done well in Monaco though. below, 8 goals in 15 games. If he scores one more goal, he'll have hit his highest return for a season since battering 31 for Sporting Lisbon during the 15-16 campaign. He's also provided 7 assists out in France, 4 more than Cesc Fabregas. Isn't that supposed to be his specialty? With Monaco now 5th in the league and with the memories of Thierry Henry banished forever. Liverpool, Harry Wilson. Liverpool don't have too many players ripping it up out on loan. I guess Harry Wilson. Yeah, Bournemouth are stuck in a relegation battle, but the former Derby County loanee has done alright. 7 goals in 25 games, including some delicious free kicks. Don't think he's quite good enough to play for Liverpool though. Still, it's a decent £25 million to cash in on in the summer. Man City, Tosin Adarabioyo. Man City are turning into Chelsea, aren't they? They currently have 35 players out on loan, and I'm guessing Pep Guardiola hasn't heard of half of them. Nobody is really tearing it up, and if any of these fans says Jack Harrison, that's a damn lie. I'll go for Tosin Adarabioyo, a 22-year-old defender, been on the books at City since they were scrapping for pennies under the local dumpster all the way back in 2003, and he's impressed in 16 games out on loan at Blackburn. This is a man who said his ambition is to captain City in 5 years' time. If he didn't turn 23 in a few months, I might have agreed with him, but no, instead he's probably just going to be sold in the summer. Man United, Chris Smalling. Yes, Dean Henderson definitely runs him close, but according to reports, Chris Smalling has been the best defender in Italy this season. I know, I was surprised too, considering this lad's career being a running joke in 9 seasons at Manchester. He's in the best form of his life at Roma this season though, and even popped up with 2 goals. Still can't get past the likes of Michael Keane and Tyrone Mings in the England squad though. Madness, and I never thought I'd be saying that about Chris Smalling. Newcastle, Jacob Murphy. If Newcastle fans are hopeful that they might have some budding stars out on loan, then no, you don't. For Christ's sake, Rolando Aarons is currently warming the bench at Motherwell. I'll go for Jacob Murphy, a former £12 million signing, and incredibly, almost in the top 10 most expensive Newcastle signings ever. Christ, he's got 4 goals in 24 games for Sheffield Wednesday this season. Not great, but there we go. Norwich, Sean Raggett. Yeah, a perennially underused Norwich defender, out on loan again, this time spearheading another promotion charge with Portsmouth. To be fair, considering the state of defending at Norwich this season, they could have done worse than recall him. Sheffield United, Ben Heenan. God, Sheffield United have some absolutely hideous players out on loan. The likes of Callum Robinson and Ravel Morrison. It's far too soon to judge, but if I was to guess, I would imagine one of them will probably have a terrible attitude and be more likely to set fire to the stadium than actually score a few goals. Guess which one? Let's say Ben Heenan, a former England C defender, has played 14 games for Blackpool in League 1 this season. One of the only ones to actually be getting a few regular games. Isn't that the whole point of a loan? Southampton, Fraser Forster. Fraser Forster is back in form. I'm not sure what happened to him. This guy was one of the best goalkeepers in the Premier League. For Christ's sake, he went to a World Cup with England, and then his entire world fell apart. Well, he's back out on loan at Celtic and currently outshining every keeper on Southampton's books, especially the guy who conceded a 9-1 match. A particular highlight in Forster's return to Parkgate is a penalty save coupled with a man-of-the-match display in Celtic's 1-0 over Rangers in the League Cup final. On his day, the man has the potential to be world-class. Fraser Forster is back. Tottenham, Luke Amos. Alright, we all know that Denny Rose is the best Tottenham player currently out on loan, but at the same time, I can't pick him because he's only touched the ball about 6 times for Newcastle so far. Instead, maybe Luke Amos, one of the only Tottenham loanees to actually be getting a few games under his belt, with the midfielder playing 24 times and scoring twice for QPR.
But yeah, at the end of the season, expect Danny Rose to be the one for this list. After he dislodges Matt Ritchie, makes the left back spot his own, and maybe even squeaks into the England squad for Euro 2020. Here's a question though, Newcastle fans. Would you rather have him or Jetro Willems playing left wing back? There's a question for you, let me know in the comment section below.
Watford, Luis Suarez. Yeah, I bet you didn't realise there was still a Luis Suarez in the Premier League. Not that one, calm down. Although apparently, this lad, a striker with 14 goals in 26 games for Real Zaragoza this season, is currently being lined up to replace Luis Suarez of Barcelona. Surely that has to be a made up story, because I'm sorry, why in a cat's fingernail would Barcelona be interested in signing a man who can't get past Troy Deeney in the goddamn Watford team?
Are they just trying to fool everyone and pretend that it's the same player and that the Uruguayan hitman isn't actually out injured at all? Because I think people will realise pretty soon that it's not the same player when the Watford sub doesn't start banging in goals and eating people.
West Ham, Nathan Holland. Sit down, Jordan Hugill, I'm going with Nathan Holland. Listen, I know the winger's only been at Oxford for 10 minutes, linking up with him in January, but the 21-year-old winger's already belted in a memorable stoppage time equalising volley against Newcastle in the FA Cup. Literally the best moment of the season for that club. He's gonna have mixed feelings about Oxford when he retires, because he was also one of that sorry West Ham bunch who got spanked there by 4 goals last year. Wolves, Helder Costa. Look, I know Helder Costa hasn't been perfect out on loan at Leeds, and actually a bit of a disappointment, but hey, at least he's getting some game time. 3 goals in 24 games, it's not great, and he probably won't play for Wolves again, but look at the other lads out on loan. They're barely getting a look in. Anyway, that's the end of it, lads. Let me know, what player do you think is currently performing the best out on loan? Do you think Chris Smalling deserves another chance at Man United? Is Luis Suarez going to replace Luis Suarez? Should Fraser Forster be hauled back to the Premier League? Let me know your opinions in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give a like, share and subscribe. And as always, I'll talk to you in a while.